Okay, ladies and gentlemen, take your seats, please. We're called back into session. Mr. Grindstaff, Mr. Johnston, Mr. Nordhoff, Mr. Notoli. Take your seats, please. All right. Members, we were wrapping up with Mr. Curlin, Mr. Twist's presentation. Are there any questions that occurred to folks in the lunch break that you want to present to them now? At the end of their presentation, we're going to open it for public comments, and then we'll come back and see if there's anything we want to say overall after hearing the comments. So, any questions? Okay, hearing none. I know that Mr. Burt Wilson was the first person to submit a questionnaire. Mr. Wilson, or blue form. Mr. Wilson, if you'd use the mic over there, you wanted to comment on this section. And yes, sir.
Thank you. Sorry if you want to leave it there. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir.
I have a few comments to make. Okay. First of all, on the Chapter 4, reliability, a more reliable water supply for California. I heard what this gentleman said, and he says a plausible interpretation from the written record is that the steps made were taken in response to the general thrust of many comments. If you look at the comments, they're all from water agencies. Where are the comments of individuals? I don't see that weighting comments and responses is a democratic approach to do this. I think everyone should have the same weight, and it should be reflected in the draft plan.
Okay.
All right. As to the I just want to say a word about the phrase a reliable water supply. If you went up to Mount Shasta and you said, gee, we're going to charge you $11 billion because you don't have a reliable water supply, they're going to laugh at you and say, well, we've got all the water we want coming right down the hill. The fact is a reliable water supply for California is not true. It's a reliable water supply for Southern California. We have all the water we want in Northern California. So it's really a half-truth. A reliable water supply is really a code word for shipping more Delta water south to where it's needed, not in Northern California. And a half-truth is the most devious form of lie because it can be supported in part by irrefutable fact. And that's what I think we're doing with this phrase. I would rather say a more reliable water supply for Southern California. I think that would be more honest. So I just want to make a point of that.
Mr. Wilson, you may misunderstand the statute. The statutory language on reduced reliance relates to Water Code Section 85021, which is the legislature, now the law of California. It says the policy of the state of California is to reduce reliance on the Delta in meeting California's future water needs.
Well, I'm all for that.
But that's the law.
Okay.
Okay.
But the way it's phrased, you can go to a person and say, do you want a more reliable water supply? And they think it's the water coming out of the kitchen tap, you see. And so it's still a little bit misleading. These around for
okay,
you.
There is a document. Ms. Rogers will eventually wind up with these documents to put in our record, our formal record.
Well, thanks to these gentlemen back here. This is up on the board here.
Oh, okay.
This graph was given to me by the MWD, believe it or not. It shows that from the year 2000 until 2006, they overpumped the Delta to the tune of 45 million acre feet. Now, to me, this is what caused the ruination and degradation of the Delta. But that's, I don't want to talk so much about that. That's self-evident right there. That's why the judge, made them stop the diversion so the fish wouldn't die. It was killing all the fish. Now, the point is, on the MWD site right now, they are calling for the restoration of the water diversions to the 2006 level. That's double from what they've been giving. Do you think that that's going to go? Double what they've been getting? That's what they're saying on their website. Okay. No response.
Well, Mr. Wilson, you might want to take a look at our website. I exchanged letters with the state and federal water contractors a couple of months ago, including charts on historic exports from the Delta from 1968 through 2010, if I remember correctly. And you'll find some of the evidence you're looking for, but I don't. If you mean to say that these charts show that they're asking to export 12 million acre-feet of water, I don't believe that's the case.
I'm saying they want to export 1,400,000 acre-feet of water for the MWD.
The letter outlined the exports from 1968 through 2010. My recollection is out of those years, 6 or 8 years touched 6 million acre-feet or more. The other years were lower. I could be wrong on the figures. It's in the letter on the website. And if you'd shoot us the information that you think supports the assertion. This is, I believe, a chart about export levels, Colorado River, and
well, as you can see, the DWR increased their allocation exactly to the point of their loss of Colorado River water. That's what that says, and nothing was ever said about it.
Yeah, you see, the problem is of the chart you've given, it's hard to read the bottom line. I think that's what it is, Colorado River at the bottom, but it was cut off.
Yeah. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So, boy, we should all have friends like that in the DWR. But they want to restore it now to the point where they lost the lowest point of Colorado River water. They want to restore it to 2006. That's what it says on their website. Okay. I wandered into a meeting of the Association of California Water Agencies. Golly, Randy, you're a award-winning hero to them.
I want to wait and see where this is headed before I respond.
Well, maybe afterwards you can explain me why there is a division between the DSC and the ACWA. I mean, they don't like what the DSC is doing at all. But let me tell you what, it was a public meeting and I wandered in, and I don't know Tom Quinn from Adam. And for 2 hours I sat and listened to their propaganda campaign for this year to support the water agencies. Propaganda campaign. It's exactly what it is. They say, and I have the slides, I took the slides, reproductions with me, that even though they're spending $1 million on brochures and everything like that, they want to keep it grassroots and low cost. Now, what is this deception going on? Okay, they claim they're a public-private agency. They have 32 private agencies, no public agencies listed. And most of the private agencies listed are construction firms and contractors in Southern California who, of course, want to get the extra water so they can develop the high desert areas. But, are you going to be associated, or are you happy with people being influenced by this outright propaganda by the ACWA?
Mr. Wilson, I have learned over 50 years in politics that American democracy is based on the ability of government to listen to everybody say whatever it is they want, as long as they want to say it, and then to try to make the best judgment based on the facts, the evidence, and the opinion at the same time. And we are not here to adjudicate who's good, who's bad, but we're to follow the statute and try to improve conditions in California as best we can.
I would think it would be embarrassing to you.
I'm not a member of Aqua. Why?
I know. Why is there this animosity between the two? Is it because you're not as comprehensive as they want you to be?
I've learned that when people find you are not automatically doing what they wish you to do, they generally forcefully explain their position.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's all people, environmentalists, water districts, other, elected. It's the way it works.
Okay,
Bert Wilson.
I had never met Tom Quinn before.
Tim
and
Quinn.
I stood up
Tim,
to take
Tim Quinn.
What? Tim Quinn.
Yeah.
I had never met him before, and I stood up to take pictures, and he says, "Bert, why are you taking photographs?" I didn't know he knew me. I said, well, I'm an agent for the Homeland Security, and that didn't go over very well. Okay, the last thing is, a week ago, Governor Brown, who is doing all he can to revise his sobriquet of Governor Moonbeam, announced that the restoration of the Delta can go to hell, but we're going to have the conveyance, and it's going to be the beneficiary's pay. And
Bert, I missed I read all the press, at least I thought I did, but if you can send me the article that says the Delta can go to hell, attributed to the governor.
Those are my words. Those are my words.
Okay.
But he is bypassing the Delta, and he says the beneficiaries pay, and he says this can be done without any funding from the water bond. How is that going to be done? I know there's $10 billion in unspent funds in the Department of Water Resources Treasury. Are they going to use that to build a conveyance? Good God.
Bert, it's not my job to explain what other agencies meant and what you understand them to mean, but I'll give this crack.
All right.
The water contractors of California have said for some years now, and this is what I believe the governor was indicating, that they would pay the cost of constructing a new Delta water export facility.
And they're going to raise rates for that, right?
That's where they get their money. They raise it from rates. That's the notion of fee for service. Yes,
all right,
that's
now,
correct.
How are they going to build? The people aren't going to pay for it before it's built, are they?
You borrow money on a bonded in debt. Come on, Bert. Look, the contractors have said they'd pay for the facility. There is an argument about what the definition of facility is, what are the ecosystem requirements associated with it, all of which is being reviewed by the Bay Delta Conservation Plan, not by us at this stage. And that's the argument of who should pay for what. But the bonds that would be presented to the voters of the state of California cover no part of the facility cost. They provide $2.5 billion
I understand
for Delta ecosystem, $3 billion for storage, either surface or underground, unspecified sites, and a whole bunch of other things as well. And in that context, and just in answer to your question, I believe the statement about paying for all this relates only to the promise of the contractors to pay the cost of the facility. I don't know that. That's my understanding.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that for me.
That's my guess.
I needed that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.